Everybody, welcome back to Esoteric Ramblings. I'm Jesse Arnold, and today I'm going to be giving you my first reactions to Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 7, Chapter 15, The Believer. So, after the tragedy last week, and what both of those entailed in the loss of the Razor Crest and the loss of Grogu to Moff Gideon and his Dark Troopers, I wasn't really sure what this week's episode was going to be. Clearly, Mando's putting a team together. He's got Boba Fett and Fennec Shand on his side. He obviously goes to get help from Cara Dune, who's now officially a Marshal of the New Republic. And they talk about springing out Migs Mayfield from prison, who, from last season was in The Prisoner. I wasn't super excited to see Bill Burr's character back because there wasn't much about him I liked. I mean, he's plucky and his attitude and all that stuff was fun, but I just feel with the gravity of the situation in the show, bringing him in at this point would feel very I don't know. I wasn't excited about it. I don't dislike Bill Burr. Just that character, I was like, what is he going to add to this? And again, I'm glad to be wrong. This episode was actually really great. I really enjoyed this week's episode. I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right. I tried listening to pronunciations, but they just sounded robotic, and I didn't look for any news interviews. But Rick I don't know how to say his name. The director of this episode directed a couple episodes last season, and I was excited that he was back doing another episode. So Rick Famuyiwa, I'm not sure. I apologize, I'm butchering this name, but it was a great episode. It's one of the shorter episodes, but sometimes that's great. You can get in, get out, and I don't feel like this episode needed to be longer with what its contents were. And yeah, I mean, it's no spoiler to say, the whole point was to get Mayfeld, and they get the coordinates or location on Moff Gideon's light destroyer or light cruiser. And that's pretty much what the episode is. There's some cool things I'll save for the spoiler section, so that'll be coming up. But again, some great performances. Bill Burr, I actually really like. It feels like he's maybe settled in more into being into Star Wars now. And it was actually fun seeing him on screen again, and especially, you get to see him in prison at the beginning, or in a work camp, much like Jyn Erso was at the beginning of Rogue One. So yeah, and then you've got the crew. Boba Fett's got his armor back, and he has taken some time to clean it up because it is it's not as shiny as Armando's armor, but it is nice and clean and looks proper and serious, not all weathered and potentially eroded paint from the intestines of a Sarlacc or whatever was wrong with it in the earlier episodes this season. So it was nice to see them back. And again, Fennec Shand, I'm so glad that they brought her back. I thought Ming-Na Wen was wasted as an obstacle to be taken out, and just in one episode last year, so I'm really happy she's back. And little side note, I saw all the announcements for upcoming Star Wars things from Disney Plus and potential movies, and I'm pretty sure you can see her in the Bad Batch trailer, or at least someone wearing what looks to be the same outfit as her with the reddish orange helmet and the visor and everything. So if we're gonna have a young Fennec Shand in the Bad Batch, all about that. She's a great character, especially if they can get Ming-Na Wen to voice her. That show looks like a lot of fun. I cannot wait for that and all the other announcements. Specifically, most excited for the Ahsoka series. Because if you haven't been able to tell yet, Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters, or favorite character of all time at this point. So, that said, spoilers are coming up next for this week's episode. Not a whole lot of big spoilers other than describing the action, which I'm not going to do, but there's some great action scenes, almost like a train heist. It was really good. It was some of it was objectionable in my mind, because like, why? Because they were fighting off pirates that are bandits that are attacking this convoy, and we don't have the background for these pirates. Like, are they good, trying to help the people of this planet? I'm hoping at the wholesale slaughter that they go through, they were not good people, just for safety's sake. But sometimes people make bad decisions when they're trying to do good things for their people, and Mando's definitely going off the rails. Not off the rails, but he's getting desperate to go after Grogu, and by getting Mayfield back. And but no, it's great. It forces him into some decisions that he might regret, or forces him to maybe change some of his way of beliefs. We've obviously established earlier this season that the Children of the Watch, whatever that is, if that's the actual name or what people call them derogatorily, the group of Mandalorians he belongs to have a very strict code of what it means to be a Mandalorian, and some of those things get strongly put into practice this week, and he actually violates them. Big spoiler here, he is seen not only not in his armor, he puts on stormtrooper armor, he actually takes his helmet off in a public space, and it's not even his helmet, it's the stormtrooper helmet he's wearing, to do a face scan. That's how desperate he is to find Grogu, and that was kind of a huge. I mean, we've seen his face as the audience when IG-11 fixed him last year, but no character has, as far as we know. And yeah, that was kind of a big deal. So it added some weight to this moment in this episode, and then you also have Mayfeld when they get confronted by an officer, because they sneak into an Imperial installation. They get confronted by an officer, and they're talking, and Mayfeld goes into this whole story about a battle he served in, and references Operation Cinder, and which I've read from the Alphabet Squadron books, and that's almost as bad as the Death Star in Imperial actions, especially since most of it happened at the end of or after the war, and them trying to desperately cling on to the things that they Star Trek pun unintentionally, their grip on systems and everything. So Operation Cinder's bad news, and it was real interesting to see how Mayfeld reacted to that, and it actually made me appreciate the character more than just being ex-Imperial who was just trying to make his way, which is the vibe I got last year. So seeing his story, it didn't fall and say what I'm inferring or assuming happened, but it definitely felt that they were inferring that he saw these things, these atrocities being done during Operation Cinder, and left. That's the impression I got, because many Imperials, especially lower ranking soldiers, were doing that at that time, and some were defecting to the rebellion, some were just going AWOL. So it was really cool, and some really great action scenes. Did not disappoint. And then the biggest jaw dropper for me was the end of the episode. They've got the coordinates to go after Moff Gideon, so they've let Mayfeld go. They didn't send him back to prison because of what happened. He really proved himself to them. So Mando's got his crew with Cara Dune, Boba Fett, and Fennec Shand, and we'll see if anyone else gets added to that by next week's episode. But he sends a message to Moff Gideon, threatening him that he was coming to get the child back, basically. And which was really cool and really badass, but at the same time, also tipped his hat to how important the child was to him. So now Moff Gideon, so that could go a couple ways. Moff Gideon, it's important to him because of whatever this project he is, and he needs the child. Or, we'll find out. I hope nothing bad happens to Grogu, because he's a great part of the show. and I don't want to see it just turn into like a revenge story if something bad were to happen to him. So we'll see what happens. Very excited to watch next week's episode. Disappointed that it'll be almost a year until we get more, but hey, I'm gladly waiting in between seasons for this because I think they're doing such a great job. So that's it. That's my reaction to episode, 7, chapter 15, The Believer. Catch you next time.